we want to have different vendors. We want to have a variety of vendors. So you're going to see different ones at the NBTSG than you'll see at the Sharpeners Jam. Always will.
Which is part of Bonnie's goal, is to make that a different show than this one. While there may be a lot of the same people,
selling machines at the,
yeah.
You want that variety.
Yeah, our competitors, you know.
One of the other things is there's no reason why the organization couldn't grow to the point where we could have multiple shows in different locations in the same year.
We'll try to coordinate with the new group that's coming on. So, like if you're, you know, you're in their guild and you're
we've talked about that. They may not be what we're going to do if we open it up.
You know, we might want to try to open that up too, so we can more cooperation between the two guilds. And
or we may not.
Or we may not. It just depends, you know.
And a lot of these suggestions are things that we would like for guild members to decide.
Yeah,
I mean, you may not want to be part
needs
of
to
that
be their
other thing,
decision.
you know,
Yeah, not our.
And the
not
only way to
Gene and
do
Bonnie
that
decision.
is to set up the organization with a structure that allows it to happen without any undue bias from any one group, where
it's not a Bonika show. It's not a Sharp Edges show. It's not a Rapid Edge show. It's not. We don't. Of course, last year we got certified and with 6 or 8 or 10, 15 people, and there was all different.
Bonnie has graciously asked me to be a part of the initial board of directors and part of the executive committee. I'm the secretary, so I'll be taking notes on recommendations, and it takes care of the legal work and things like that. Dennis is the vice chairman, also part of the executive committee. And since Bonnie was asked to take over from Larry, she'll start out as the chairman. Now, the first thing that we as an executive committee need to do is form the nominating and governance committee. That is the most important committee because that committee's responsibility has a lot of let's see if I click on it here. Okay, there's the executive committee and basically the responsibilities of the executive committee initially. As the guild progresses and as we figure out what our bylaws are and responsibilities and how the leadership is chosen, that could change. And then from there, those are the people on that committee who make the recommendations on filling the rest of the vacancies and putting together the legal paperwork and such. To start, remember, organizations like this, once everything's filed, if it's structured correctly, it can be changed going through the proper processes. But that's part of what we're trying to figure out, what those processes are. Is it going to take 2/3 membership vote to change a bylaw? Little things like that, but that's all very important because if it's not done correctly to begin with, it causes problems later down the road. Convention committee is one of the things. A lot of what we just talked about would be that convention committee, a committee of people, and all committee members don't have to be guild members. They could be other people who are just willing to
provide input and say, hey,
exactly.
you don't want to go to Memphis because it's a regional, or just because you like barbecue.
So right now, Dennis is actually the chairman of the certification committee, and runs the certifications, and that's part of what the committee's responsibilities are. Now, my understanding is this next convention is pretty much set on how things are going to run and what's been organized and scheduled and everything.
Yeah, you pretty much
really
have to do way out in advance.
We'd really like for this to be done in enough time that we have at least other people on these committees to help plan for the one after this. That's our goal, is that the next convention after September will be planned and organized and run by the guild members using this structure. And this is on a, is it just slow? Yeah, there we go. Membership committee is another one. Because we need to grow our membership. And again, we need to figure out what membership really means. There can be various numbers and levels of membership with different responsibilities and authority. You can have associate members, and there's lots of different things you can do. Whether or not we're going to charge dues what the amount of the dues are going to be.
Kennel Club does.
A lot of organizations charge dues, and there's a reason for it. You can't run anything nowadays without money.
And if you did get, if you were, there were dues and you were a member, then if, like at the conventions and something like that, you would get discounts, you know, as opposed to somebody who wasn't a member would have to pay more than you would to get in. So.
Master Sharpener Advisory Committee, and this is one of the ways in which the integrity of the guild can be ensured. That everybody who's ever certified as a Master Sharpener has a way to provide their input. Now, it doesn't necessarily mean that the Board of Directors is going to do what they say, but it's a way that anybody through the history of the guild, whether they're current or not, could have a voice and be heard. Okay? Because that's very important. So people like Larry, who are retired, can still come over here and tell the organization legitimately his concerns and recommendations. Right here is your industry advisory committee. We'd like to have everything from machine manufacturers and vendors, scissors, importers, beauty, grooming, whatever it is. If they're in the industry, we'd like them to have some recommendations. Hear their voices on what they're doing. And Joe had a lot of good recommendations here. Of course, it helps that a number of people are already in that doing that, but I'm not. You know, I'm not a manufacturer. I'm not an importer. I don't sell machines. I sharpen and I sell other people's products. In the marketing, I'm not a marketer, but Gene is.
He's also a garbage taker outer.
Yeah, I take out garbage.
At the moment.
And I also clean the toilets too. If y'all can, if y'all go by the office, the toilets are clean.
Training and education, that's Bonnie. She's filling that role right now. But that's the kind of passion we're talking about. So if you have a passion like that and you're willing to share it and put a little work into the organization, we welcome it.
And some of these committees are going to work together. The training, the marketing, the training and education committees are going to kind of work together. Gene might say, what do you think about having, which I'd love to see, maybe a platform artist come in, hair cutter, platform artist come in and show a couple sharpeners, show some sharpeners, some different scissor cutting styles, techniques, you know.
Oh, we may do that this year, too.
Slide cutting, and I don't know any of that. I mean, I just know that
Some of it's
slide
really
cutting
good.
and
Good
blunt,
terminology.
I don't know, but it would be very informative to me, and I'm sure a lot of others.
We'll have that then this year. We can do that this year.
Yeah,
'Cause
that'd be
we've
great.
got
I know-
plenty. We've got plenty of people to pull from.
And here's the timeline. We're a little behind on the timeline, but I think we're still on track. We just haven't chosen the nominating and governance committee yet.
I didn't want to
Right.
move too fast. I really kind of wanted this meeting and get some feedback from the people here at the Jam.
Pin here. I'm ready to take notes.
Well, I'd like to say that as a person in charge of the certification, I've talked with him, Bob Sissel. He's going to be taking over the certification of the clipper blades
Correct.
this year. He'll be in
Good.
charge of all that, and I think he's a good man. He's well known in the industry, very knowledgeable.
Somebody that was like
And,
more qualified.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Been there around a little longer, you know.
So,
Really seriously.
Yeah.
Well, everybody give a big hand to Bob. I think he's going to do a good job for that. You got anything to say, Bob?
Well, I've already decided that I'm going to Jason. He's right there.
Again, somebody with very
Very
limited
good,
experience,
very good.
right? Yeah.
Like,
What do you think? Is it? I mean, would y'all rather us just run the thing and you sit back and relax and not worry about it, or
Only
would
if
you
can
feel like?
compensate yourself enough for doing it, because it doesn't make any sense to do that.
Yeah.
No, I think you're on the right track.
Okay, that's what I want to
I
hear.
think what you need to do is figure out from the members, okay, that serve out here, you know, and sharpness. Okay, I'd like this person to do that. Can you do this? Can you help the guild out this year or for 2 years or whatever, doing this particular job, you know, and get a commitment from them. Because if you're gonna sit back and just wait for somebody to come and say, oh, money, can I help out here? I don't think people are gonna do that. But if you go to them and say, can you help the guild do this for a couple of years?
So that's what we need to do, is go and approach people
Yeah,
and
I
let them,
mean,
yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah.
Wait,
If you don't ask, they're not gonna do it.
Okay.
Hey, vendors, I'm scared to death to take the test, by the way. I've only been sharpening for a very long time, but I couldn't imagine taking the test and failing and then saying,
That was-
now what do I do?
That was
Yeah.
Bonnie's problem, because she teaches, and, you know, she gets there and she fails, and then she's, oh.
That, one of the things that we decided without having this group, what we want to do this year is vendors especially, or people, or like Josh is going to be one, he's already told me he wants to do it. People in that circumstance, you can certify, and no one but the judges will know that you even tried to certify, okay?
Uh-huh.
So
Well,
if you
anyway.
don't do well, if you don't do well, and we're going to open that up to vendors, and they'll open up to educators, I
Certain
think,
number
at
of
this
people.
point. At this point, I don't think when it, but they can't place. See our beautiful trophy we got. Y'all see it over
Vendors
there?
won't be allowed to place.
That's
unless
going to be
they do
one of
an
those
open
perpetual ones.
competition.
We'll put your name on it each
But
time.
Guys, you're still sitting on a gold mine this year. I think you know, but if you collectively bring it together like I hope you can, you're going to have a very strong organization.
Can I just elaborate on that? Because I might be one of the more greener. I've been sharpening for not quite 2 years. And I met Bonnie and Dennis 2 years ago at the NBTSG in St. Louis. And, oh, Bonnie and Jim just great. Oh, sit down, blah, blah. And we did the round table stuff, and we did things, and nobody was competitive. And everybody's machine was good. Nobody said anything bad about each other. I've talked to Bob on the phone, and he's, given me advice on what to do and what not to do, and, use caution and you want to do clipper blades. And Linda, Dennis's mom, said to me one time, because I am a West Coaster, and, but for the grace of God, some idea came down in my head, why I'm coming from a law firm to sharpening shears, but for the grace of God. And I go to this I choose just out of the blue, so I think, to go to the NBTSG in St. Louis, when I know that the NSSG is going to have theirs in 2 months in Las Vegas. Closer, easier for me to go to. For some reason, I go to the NBTSG. And I'm talking to Linda and Dennis, or Linda and Larry, and they tell me about, I'm telling them my experience, and Bonnie saying, what got you to sharp? I said, well, I don't know, call me crazy, but I just think there's a reason I'm here. And, Linda and Larry started filling me in on all these little clicky things and these really things that were happening with the NSSG. And I can tell you, as you have observed, that the bond and the kindness and the sharing, I've spent a weekend with Bonnie and Jean. I've spent 3 days with Dennis, and they are so kind and so good to people, and they have so much grace that you couldn't find a better group of people. And I've met Jessie now today for the first day. I've seen you. You're sort of fake, quasi-famous, because I see your name all the time. And such a good soul. Such good souls here.